Welcome back, film fans. This is Brad from Let's Be Real Brad, and today on the channel, I want to talk to you guys about the brand new horror film that is hitting cinemas this weekend, and that is The Cursed. The Cursed is written and directed by Sean Ellis. The film is set in rural century France. A mysterious, possibly supernatural menace threatens a small village. John McBride, a pathologist, comes to town to investigate the danger and exorcise some of his own demons in the process. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I had no idea that The Curse was hitting cinemas this weekend for a wide release, because this is a small independent horror film that came out at Sundance Film Festival last year, and I'm surprised that this movie got a wide release. I was super excited to check this out last night, considering that this movie has some relatively pretty good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic, and from people I know said that it was a pretty solid movie. Now that I've seen the movie, I have to say that The Curse is a very underwhelming and disappointing film. The Curse is a movie that I wish was such a great horror film, as it has everything you would come to expect for a classic horror film. Great direction, great cinematography, pretty decent acting, and a very fresh and original idea of a movie that we have seen 100 times before. So let's just dive right into the positives first, and I have to start with the directing. Sean Ellis did a wonderful job crafting all the shots in this movie, as you can clearly tell he understands what makes a great horror film look good. And I also love the way he's able to shoot the creature in this movie, in the way it's presented, as the creature feels very mysterious in the way it's hidden, as we get more of the creature as the film goes along, which feels like a very classic 60s and 70s horror film. Another positive I can give this movie is the cinematography. This is such a great looking horror film, as I enjoyed the cinematography so much. I love the atmosphere this movie is able to create with this cloudy, gray, bleak look that just feels so dry, and I don't know, it just feels like there's no life to this movie, just like the story itself, that just feels like there's no hope for these characters. I also thought that the editing and sound design in this movie were pretty decent, as the editing was a big surprise of how good this movie was, with all the shots cut together in a very seamless way. And I also thought that the sound design was also very creepy. The visual effects of the creature and the look of this movie are so good and very surprising, considering this is such a low budget movie, that it made the movie so much more scarier in my opinion, as there's one scene where they cut open the creature, and my goodness, it looks so damn good, adding so many practical effects that reminded me heavily of John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982. That is one of my favorite horror films of all time, and that scene in the film did such a great job of reminiscing that great movie. Now, let's dive into my negatives that I do have with this movie, and I have to start with the second half. The second half is such a big disappointment, as the first half of this movie has such a great setup. It is so creepy, and you don't know where the movie is going. But the second half of this movie drags so much, with a bunch of terrible character decisions that just feel so illogical, and it just has no weight or care to anything that's going on, as I just wanted the movie to end at a certain point. Another negative I have with this movie has got to be the screenplay. For the first half of the movie, the screenplay is very strong, but by the time you get to the second half of the movie, like I already talked about before, I just didn't care about anything that was going on, and that's because the characters in this movie are very weak, as this movie is a plot-driven movie rather than a character-driven movie, which I'm totally okay with, but I just didn't care about any of the characters, as many of them are very annoying, stupid, and you don't get depth to any of the characters. Only our main character, John McBride, but even him doesn't have a full character arc to flesh him out for us to really care about him, and I thought that was just so disappointing. And the final negative that I do have with this movie has to be the horror, as this horror in this movie does work for the most part, but there is a ton of moments in this movie that I just wasn't scared at all. And again, it all comes back to the second half of the movie, and the visual effects for the creature just doesn't look as good, as you need to use a lot of CGI for this, and I get it, but it just doesn't look as good. Overall, guys, The Curse is a horror film that I wanted to love so much because there is so much talent and effort behind it with Sean Ellis putting everything he has got into this movie, and I appreciate the fresh and original take that he has with this creature. But unfortunately, this movie comes off as a very generic, shallow, uninteresting horror film by the end, with very wooden characters, an okay screenplay, and with a visual effects that just fall apart by the end of the movie. I have to say that this movie is a skip. I am giving The Cursed a strong 5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for checking out this review, and I want to know below in the comments section, what are some of your upcoming horror films of 2022 that you're really excited about? I can't wait to hear it. But before you guys check out this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the following video.